Hey, what's up, y'all? How we doing? How we doing today? I hope y'all having a blessed Easter out there. The day the Lord has risen. God bless all y'all. But let's also talk some basketball today, man. So obviously I'm on fire. I made 3 videos within the last 2 days. I'm ready to make another one. Let's make it 4 in the last 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Today I'm going to be talking about the Western Conference outlook, especially when it comes to the playoffs. Obviously, I touched on it on one of my previous videos a couple of days ago when I talked about the Lakers outlook with 5 games left in the season. I also mentioned teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Houston Rockets, and the Denver Nuggets. This video is going to kind of tackle the same subject, but I'm going to talk about the whole Western Conference outlook as a whole, especially when it comes to the playoffs, not just the Lakers, because in that video I just talked about what the Lakers could do within the last 5 games of the season and yada, yada, yada. Again, I'm going to talk about the whole Western Conference outlook as a whole. When it comes to the Lakers specifically, let me just get them out of the way first. With all the injuries we've gotten, especially to Luka and Austin Reeves, I'm just thankful we're in the playoffs. I'm just thankful we do not have to fight another day in the play-in because the 2 seasons before we traded for Luka in 2024-25, we had to fight our way through the play-in just to at least get a spot in the playoffs, and we were not at risk of being kicked out. Like I said, my only question is, who can I really trust to step out outside LeBron James? I don't know. That is up for discussion, and that is up in the air right now. But enough about them. Let's go over the play-in tournament in the Western Conference. As of now, it's looking like the Phoenix Suns are going to host the first set of the play-in games, the 7-8 matchup between them and potentially the Portland Trailblazers. But remember, Portland, as of right now, is 40-38, and the Clippers are 39-38. So, if anything, the Clippers may leapfrog them, especially if they catch fire with 4 or 5 games left in the season. I think Phoenix wins that 7-8 matchup regardless of who they face, whether it's Portland or the Clippers, because number one, they have the number 6 rated defense in the league, and the guys outside Devin Booker are ballers. Dillon Brooks is having a career year. Jalen Green is starting to come into his own in the Phoenix offense, and then you have guys like Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal, Oso Ighodaro, Colin Gillespie, who is a high IQ, solid player off the bench. Kind of reminds me of a bit of what Chris Paul did for Phoenix, and it also kind of reminds me of what TJ McConnell does for the Pacers. And then you have a guy like Grayson Allen, who always lights it up from the perimeter. I think Mark Williams is still out, but when he comes back, he's going to be very, very vital to that Suns team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And Devin Booker, I feel like he's going to drop 35 to 45 points. The Phoenix Suns survive in the 7-8 game in the play-in, and then they're going to face the San Antonio Spurs in the first round of the NBA playoffs. More on that in a minute. The 9-10 seeded game is probably going to be the LA Clippers versus the Golden State Warriors, or the Portland Trailblazers versus the Golden State Warriors. Whether it's Portland or the Clippers, I think one of those teams are going to have that game on lock for the 9th seed secured. I think Golden State has too much going on against them, especially with the injuries to Moses Moody and Jimmy Butler. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. I'm not going to doubt that he's going to have a pretty good game to a great game, but it's not going to be enough because none of the other guys, I guess D'Anthony Melton, probably he could step up, but that's really the only guy I could trust because Brandon Podziemski is terrible. Al Horford's too old. Kristaps Porzingis is way too injury prone for my liking. And the rest of the guys around them, yes, they're good when you have another star to pair with Steph Curry, but when you don't have another star to pair with Steph Curry, they're just guys. And plus, the Clippers and the Blazers have too much size, and the Warriors barely have size outside Porzingis. And again, he's way too injury prone. Al Horford's too old. I think the Warriors are going to be one and done, and there's nothing Steph Curry could really do about it. As far as the battle for the 8th seed goes to secure the final spot for the playoffs, it's definitely going to be between the Portland Trailblazers and the LA Clippers. And I think the LA Clippers are going to win that game because, yes, the Blazers are pretty good, especially with guys like Drew and Denny and Tamani Kamara, Donovan Clingan. I get all that. Especially if guys like Kawhi Leonard and Darius Garland just absolutely pop off against the Blazers, which I think Kawhi will, because Kawhi in big playoff moments, he scores like around 27 to 35 a game when he's playing in big playoff moments like this or big postseason moments like this. Darius Garland is a toss-up, but keep in mind, guys, he has been injured for this whole entire year, whether it was with the Cleveland Cavaliers or parts of the LA Clippers. But Darius Garland has looked really, really good in an LA Clipper jersey. And both teams are middle of the pack defenses anyway, according to StatMuse.com. The Blazers are number 13 in defensive rating, and the LA Clippers are at number 18. You guys take those numbers for what you will. One is like middle of the pack average, and the other one is like subpar. Both of them are not average defensive teams, but they're not bad defensive teams either, especially when they have guys that are capable of stepping up. On one side, Drew Holiday, the other side, Kawhi Leonard, and guys like Brook Lopez as well, who's still a capable defender, even at 37 years old. But ain't none of that gonna matter because one of those teams are gonna have to play the Oklahoma City Thunder in a 1v8 matchup. And that's probably a bloodbath waiting to happen, whether you're Portland or the Clippers. I think the Clippers have a better chance to force at least a game 6 or 7 against them. But even then, that's going to be for naught because Oklahoma City Thunder is too deep. They're too strong, they're too fast, they're too good, and all the above. SGA is going to be an MVP candidate. That series is going to show the world why he is the best player in basketball. J-Dub is going to have his way with the Clippers. Same with AJ Mitchell, Jared McCain, and the two bigs. While, yes, Brook Lopez and Isaiah Jackson, they ain't the worst counters to Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein, but they definitely ain't the best either. So, yeah, that's a lopsided matchup. Again, the only reason I think they have a chance to at least force a game 6 or 7 is because of Kawhi Leonard. But not even he, even if he goes back to his Toronto Raptors self and he's having a better season than what he had with the Toronto Raptors and season 1 with the LA Clippers where he averaged 27 a game, that ain't going to be enough because Oklahoma City's too good. Now, when it comes to the 2-7 matchup, the San Antonio Spurs versus the Phoenix Suns, obviously we know their playoff history. The Suns and the Spurs hate each other, dating back to the 2007 second round where the Spurs ended up winning that series in 6, and a lot of Suns fans, even to this very day, when Suns fans thought that Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash got cheated out of in that playoff series because of the Game 4 suspensions of both Amari and, at the time, Boris Diaw. There's a video online that does talk about it. You guys could just type up 2007 Spurs Suns controversy. I'm not going to talk about it here because that's not the point of the video. Anyways, when it comes to the Spurs-Suns playoff matchup for the 2026 first round, I think it's going to be one of those series where, yeah, it may go 5-6 games, and the matchup looks lopsided because of how good Victor Wembanyama is and how good Stephon Castle is. We know how De'Aaron Fox is a known playoff riser, or actually he only had one playoff series, and that was when he was with the Sacramento Kings and he faced the Golden State Warriors. So take it for what you will. That's his only playoff appearance. But when it comes to the Spurs, they look like a lopsided matchup for Phoenix, but here's the thing. The Suns played the Spurs tough this whole entire season, and keep in mind, there was only like one game where Dillon Brooks was healthy, and when Dillon was healthy, the Suns ended up winning that game. I believe it was, I'm looking at it right now, yeah, it was a game back on November 23rd of 2025 where Dillon Brooks was available, but unfortunately Jalen Green wasn't. When Brooks and Booker were not playing, the Suns got blown out 120-194, and that was back in February of this year. And granted, there was one game in the season, and I think it was also back in November of 2025. It was like their first matchup this whole entire season. The Suns shot the ball like crazy. I think I was looking at that stat line. There was like a game they won 130-118, and the Suns shot the 3-ball like crazy. But I don't think that is going to happen. But I do know that the Suns are going to play the Spurs tougher than we really think. And again, like I alluded to at the beginning of this video when we talked about the play-in, the Suns are number 6 in defensive rating, especially when it comes to scoring defense. So no doubt they're going to keep Victor Wembanyama in check for a good amount of time. But again, because of how good the Spurs are, how good Victor Wembanyama is, and we know De'Aaron Fox is a playoff riser. I know he only had 7 games total, and that was that 7-game series he had with against the Golden State Warriors when he was on the Sacramento Kings. But he averaged 27 in that series as well. So because of how good San Antonio is, I think they overcome Phoenix and they survive. Again, it may be one of those 5-6 game series where 80% of that series is close. And don't be surprised if Book has a series like he had against the Denver Nuggets back in 2023 in the second round where, yeah, he ended up losing that series in 6 games as well with Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton, and Chris Paul, who eventually got injured. But Book played out of his mind in that series as well. I already talked about playoff implications for the Lakers and where they could end up at, especially with how we play these last 5 games. So I'm not going to talk too much about that. And I already brought up Minnesota, Houston, and Denver's schedule going forward for the rest of the season, or within these remaining 5 games at least. So I'm going to try to condense it as much as I can. We play against the Mavericks tonight, who obviously waved the white flag. No pun intended because of Cooper flag. But the Mavericks, they just punted the rest of the season because they're too deep in the hole anyway and all that other stuff. Cooper flag's really, really good. I don't doubt he's going to score 30 points again. But I do think we have enough to at least survive that game alone. But Denver faces the Portland Trailblazers on Monday, tomorrow. I think that's going to be a tough game, but I think Denver wins that game for sure. especially after what I saw yesterday when they faced Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs, and the Nuggets have won 8 in a row. So yes, we do have the tiebreaker on Denver this season, but if Denver wins tonight and the Lakers do somehow drop this game in Dallas, no tiebreaker is going to matter. And perhaps we would drop to the 4th seed and maybe we get the Houston Rockets or the Minnesota Timberwolves. I already talked about, it may not matter because we do not have Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic in either of those series, and I think it's going to be a bad matchup because of it. But I think if things stay the way they are, we could potentially have a Denver Nuggets Houston Rockets first round playoff matchup. And I talked about it with my dad too. I don't think that series is going to be close at all. Now, it may be blasphemy because the Houston Rockets, they do have Kevin Durant, they do have Alfred Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr. is pretty good, Reed Shepard's pretty good, Amen Thompson is starting to improve his point guard skills, but that's the problem right there. The Houston Rockets, number one, do not have a point guard, and number two, Ime Udoka does not know how to run an offense to save his life. And people are on their way to saying that Kevin Durant is ruining this team the same way he ruined the Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns. Because remember, they traded all their assets to either, on one hand, sign the guy, because remember, the Brooklyn Nets signed him in 2019, and they had to give up guys like D'Angelo Russell, who had a breakout year with Brooklyn in 2018-19, or the Suns had to trade away their foundation. Look, yes, I get it. You are trading for a Kevin Durant that's still in his prime, but sometimes you have to leave your foundation alone and not force your way into a championship contending team. Just build it naturally, like the Detroit Pistons, who are doing well without Cade Cunningham, or what the Oklahoma City Thunder has done the last 2-3 years, right? The Suns did not do that. Instead, they traded Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson to Brooklyn in order to get KD, and that fell on its face. And maybe you could say it's more so an indictment on the Suns front office because they thought trading for Bradley Beal was the answer. And I talked about it in my video covering the Houston Rockets and how not so great they are. They do not have a point guard. Like I said, they have to rely on Amen Thompson and Reed Shepard, and because of that, their offense is Kevin Durant, Alfred Şengün, or bust. We talked about it on opening night in that 2 OT game versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we're talking about it still with 3 to 4 games left in the season. And while, yeah, the Houston Rockets have a good defensive team, the Denver Nuggets have everything else. They have shooting, they have depth, and they still have Jamal Murray, they still have Nikola Jokic, and they still have Aaron Gordon, especially when healthy. So, you add up all those factors, I don't think that series is going to be close at all, bro. I really do not. I feel like that's going to be a 5-6 game series where, yeah, you'll have a couple good games that are close, but I think Jokic and the Nuggets are going to assert their dominance against Kevin Durant and Alfred Şengün. I don't think that series is going to be close in the slightest, in my honest opinion. Obviously, if it goes to a game 7 and every game is close, I will kindly take back my words and I will talk about it in my series recap vid. If that matchup does happen and Denver gets out in a tough fought 7-game series, I will talk about it then. But as of right now, the way things are looking for both the Houston Rockets and the Denver Nuggets, I think Denver wins that series pretty convincingly. I already talked about this in my 3 videos covering the Lakers. I'm going to talk about it again here. I'm not going to talk about it to an extent. You guys could go watch those videos exclusively where I talk about those type of playoff implications for us. We may have to face the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round if the playoffs especially started today. And I do not love that for us because, yes, we haven't lost to Minnesota at all this season. But again, we have to consider the optics. Number one, we still had Luka and Reeves in those games. Number two, there was a game where Ant shot the ball so piss poorly. And then another game, Jake LaRavia and Austin Reeves got crazy hot from 3. Again, I don't think the Jake LaRavia thing is going to happen in a 7-game series, bro. I really don't. Maybe Austin Reeves, but again, in last year's playoff series against Minnesota, he struggled immensely. And on top of that, we ain't got Austin or Luka in that series. So yeah, that's more of a dire situation for us. Again, I talked about it in one of my 3 videos covering the Lakers. The Wolves have a guy like Ayo Dosunmu. He has been huge for them, and he's going to be huge off the Minnesota bench. They still have Dante DiVincenzo. They still have Anthony Edwards, who's ramping up to being back to 100% healthy because remember, he had to miss a couple weeks because of a right knee tendonitis or right knee sprain or something along those lines. I don't know. Jaden McDaniels is going to come back. Naz Reid is still a dog. Bones Highland has been giving the Wolves some good production off the bench. Terrence Shannon Jr., the same thing. So yeah, if we do get Minnesota in the first round, that's not going to be a good thing. I would have loved my chances with the Houston Rockets and facing them because, again, of all the things I just listed a minute ago and in my video where I talked about the Houston Rockets. But even then, I don't think that's going to be a possibility because of Austin Reeves not being there now. And again, I'm going to say it one more time for y'all. There is no one on the Lakers I could really trust outside of LeBron, and the only three guys I can really say I can trust are either Rui Hachimura, Marcus Smart, or Luke Kennard. I don't trust DeAndre Ayton. Jake LaRavia is a toss-up, and everybody else, well, they're just guys. And once again, if we get Denver in the playoffs, we're going to lose that tenfold. Forget it. The dream is dead. You know what? Jokic and Jamal, they're going to have their ways with the Lakers like they always do, especially now when we don't have Austin Reeves nor Luka Doncic. But yeah, man, that is my overall Western Conference outlook for the playoffs. What do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm right about some of these matchups? Do you guys think I'm wrong? And who do you guys have representing the Western Conference? A lot of people are saying it's either going to be Oklahoma City or San Antonio. Some people are going to say Minnesota is a potential dark horse. The Denver Nuggets are a potential dark horse, whatever, what have you. Whatever y'all thoughts are, please leave it. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Once again, happy Easter to all y'all out there. May the Lord bless all of you, and I hope you guys have a blessed week. Playing tournament coming in a couple weeks. I may have something when it comes to the playoff preview like I did last year because it was really fun trying to look at what the series could potentially look like, and it could be another scenario where I could be wrong on all my playoff predictions again. But yeah, man, we'll see. It's going to be very fun. I think later today or probably tomorrow, if anything, I'm going to do an Eastern Conference playoff outlook. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, God bless y'all, man. That is the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces.